Ibrahim Shita. On Tuesday, June the 11th, the new National Assembly will be inaugurated to steer the legislative shape of the nation for the next 4 years. With inauguration, there will emerge new National Assembly leadership that is expected to point the path the new National Assembly will chart, especially in complementing the efforts of the presidency to move the country forward. This time, the governing All Progressives Congress is not taking anything to chance, so as to prevent lightning from striking twice. In 2015, Senator Bukola Saraki pulled a fast one on the APC, upstage the party's preferred candidate for Senate President in the person of Senator Ahmed Lawan. Now, to prevent a dark horse from emerging on Tuesday, the APC has been making moves to ensure that it heads for the battle a united front. Senator Ahmed Lawan is still the man the APC has anointed for the Senate presidency. This time, while for the House of Representatives, the lawmaker representing Surulere Federal Constituency, Lagos, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, is the chosen one for the speakership seat. So joining me live from Abuja now to talk on the leadership tussle for the 9th National Assembly is a lawmaker representing Kiru Bebeji Federal Constituency of Kano State and the Director General of the Femi Gbajabiamila Ahmed Wase campaign organization, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin. Thank you so much for joining us on Standpoint. The eighth Assembly did not come and go without its own drama and intrigues. What will be your assessment of the 8th Assembly that you were a member of?
Well, thank you very much. For me, I think on the day of our closing session, which is a valedictory session, the former speaker tried to score ourselves. And I think the most accurate assessment when you write an exam is for the examiner to assess you. So I don't think I'm also in a position to give a proper assessment. We should rather rely on the opinion of Nigerians to hear how well we have done. We haven't done too bad, but I think the most important thing now, and what should occupy our mind, is to see how we can improve. And the best way that improvement can come about is the election of Femi and Wase. Femi as Speaker, Wase as Deputy Speaker. These two gentlemen, there's a general consensus that they have the capacity to bring about the reform that is needed in the House of Representatives and by extension the National Assembly.
Honorable Mumin, we'll get there in a very short while. So since you rely on the appraisal of everyone from the outside of the National Assembly, in recent exclusive charts, media chart, President Muhammad Buhari berated the 8th Assembly for lack of patriotism, showing that many citizen-centric projects were not actually were slowed down by by the National Assembly. Do you believe so?
Well, I think the context that the president is talking about, he's referring to two individuals, not the National Assembly as a whole.
All right, so let us move on to, so what is the major landmark or achievement that you are proud of the 8th National Assembly that you would tell us quickly?
Well, it is difficult to see because the 8th Assembly is beclouded by crisis. So, and that is why you need to be careful when you assume leadership. You have to be very careful about what you'll be remembered for. And the moment you say the 8th Assembly, what comes to mind first is the fact that there was an intense crisis and conflict between the executive and the National Assembly. So as I have said, maybe in future my memo or book or whatsoever, you could read more about that. But for now, I will leave the opinion to Nigerians to judge.
All right. So with the battle for the 9th Assembly leadership, how is the party ensuring that they enthrone their own when it comes to the leadership of the 9th Assembly? What are the things that the APC is putting in place?
Well, unlike the case of the past, the party has done everything within its powers that we expect it to do. What many people complained in 2015 that the party didn't do, this time around the party did exactly that, and they're still working on it. Beyond the party, even the leaders of the party are doing everything they can within their powers. The governors have done what they should do. Mr. President has done what he should do. Of course, the party has come out clearly to zone the speakership position and, of course, deputy speakership position. The Progressive Governors Forum also endorsed that position, which is, of course, the candidacy of Femi and Wase. And Mr. President followed by adopting the position of the party. Even before these three endorsements, we, the members, which is very important, and I say it all the time, before anybody endorsed Femi, we, the members, came together, sat down, assessed the history of the legislature in Nigeria, and accept the fact that on some occasions we did not get the kind of leadership that we should have, and we are not where we should be as an institution. And getting Femi on board, and of course matching him with Wasi, will bring about the desired reform that is needed so that the National Assembly can meet the yearning and aspiration of Nigerians.
Isn't it amazing that the person you are supporting now to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives is someone you worked against in 2015, and you were the co-sponsor of the main the supporter of the Yakubu Dogara's 8th Assembly Speakership aspiration that led to his emergence? How come you decided to throw your weight behind him this time around?
Well, I've answered this question repeatedly over 1,000 times, and it's become so monotonous. I have said two things. On one hand, it is a blessing to me, and of course a blessing to Femi himself. A blessing in disguise for Femi is that he is even more prepared now, having tested all the phases of life, defeat, success, and there's so many other things in the last 4 years or the 17 years he has spent in the parliament. For me also, it's been a period of experience, learning things. I have seen things within the House of Representatives, and I've had the rare privilege of being a member, but again, seeing things from outside the National Assembly. So much has happened in the last 4 years. But again, what should interest you is how did Femi manage his defeat in 2015? He managed it like a gentleman, like a Democrat, like a legislator that knows his honors, that understands that losing or failure is not the end of life. So if you look at it, he accepted a defeat with grace, join hand, continue to build the party, continue to build the institution.
Right.
And this gentleman, I have said it repeatedly that we've let him down severally. Any right-thinking lawmaker, especially those that had been in the National Assembly during when Femi spent his 17 years, we, his close friends, those who have betrayed him, those who have supported him, should all accept the fact that it is time for us to give this institution to this gentleman and, of course, his deputy.
All right,
because he has the capacity, the competence, the patience, the temperament to take the House of Representatives to where we want it to go.
Okay, so to take it, all of these things give you the conviction that he's the right man for the job. But how are you reacting to the lawyers under the auspices of Coalition of Public Interest Lawyers and Advocates, who said in a statement on Friday that Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila would have to first of all clear himself of the allegations against him before seeking to contest for the speakership position? What would you say to that?
Well, that is arrant nonsense. We've already responded to that, and I don't even want to graze them by even rehearsing what we've said. It's been a gimmick that they've been playing for over a decade. Anytime Femi is contesting an election, you see such issues coming up, and you see. This should tell you clearly that all of them are scared because they know that Honorable Femi and Wasi will win that election clearly, fairly, and squarely. And, you know, we all know those who are behind this. Honorable Bago is the one behind it. We all know. Well, we've written letters to the security agencies and police. They will investigate it and come out with the fact. And of course, the other member who just came into the National Assembly, was it yesterday, through court, Emeka Nwajuba, and came desperately dropping the president name here and there. And he says he wants to come and become a speaker. These are the two guys who are there, the lawyers working with them and everything. We've all gone and we've found these facts. And you know, you keep wondering, where do they want this kind of vindictiveness to take them to? So we are not bothered. The most important thing is that Femi will be on the floor on the 11th. We are well prepared. We have our numbers.
Okay.
We are not having sleepless night, and we know that we've done the necessary campaign, necessary work that we need to do, learning from 2015, and we will win the election by the grace of God.
All right, we can see and hear, though, how much support you and your people are giving to him, from the party and outside. But how about wooing the opposition party to key into this canvas? Because it doesn't appear the main opposition party is behind you in this race.
Well, we started planning this 3 months ago, and when you see us moving, we're not moving like ships. It's a systematic process. We have our blueprint. We've actually predicted what will happen at every stage of this contest with some element of accuracy. We know the PDP very well. We know the individuals that are in the PDP today in the House of Representatives. I don't know what they can do. So as it is today, the PDP is divided into 2 blocks. You have the superpowers, who consist of about 9 members, and of course the emerging powers, who consist of another 9, about another 9 members. The superpowers will never let power go, but we are open to negotiating with them. They are the ones that have the big committees, the power, the works, whatsoever you have, and they want to return the whole of that. But there's a way you can still go about it and achieve that. But the emerging powers are those that actually appreciate the fact that the institution need a competent person, need a man of credibility, a honest leader who has the capacity to manage the house. So we've been negotiating with them, and we've sealed the deal. We've never been blinded with the thinking that we will have the whole of PDP. All we needed from the PDP is to break them into 2 and have half of them. And I can tell you confidently,
but the APC, sorry to butt in, but the APC doesn't appear to also be united on these. We still have some of the lawmakers from the Southwest. Honorable Ballot, for instance, is also saying he's not going to step down for Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila's speakership bid. How are you reacting to this? Or what are you doing to ensure that things go well?
You as a journalist, I want to ask you a question. Since Olatubosu started contesting, have you seen him with 1 member elect? I did not say 2 members, 1 single member elect. So you are giving him publicity, cheap publicity. 1, I didn't say 2, 1. No 1 single member with him. Not even Olatubosu, even Bago himself has no 1 single member of APC following him around. So these are all people who are being funded by a section of the opposition to cause confusion. And that is why you see them offering committees everywhere. That is why you see Honorable Bago saying he will give the PDP 50% of the committees and give APC 50% of the committees. Certain things you hear, they're just not realistic. If you take APC that has 223 members, the PDP and other opposition party, PDP has 120, then you say you want to do 50,
Honorable,
50. It makes no sense.
Honorable Jibrin, let me quickly buzz in again. Are you not concerned about what people believe that the current arrangement sidelines some parts of the country, contrary to the principles of federal character, and particularly the choice of women as a Speaker of the House of Reps? What would you say to this? Gender inequality, you would admit?
Okay, just very quickly before I go back to that, the aspect of whatever benefit, even though I'm so reluctant talking about that, because the essence is not about sharing committees, it's about getting the National Assembly to work. It's about restoring our integrity, restoring our image before Nigerians. But again, the issue of responsibility in terms of committees is also part of the negotiation process. So we are working with the other faction of the opposition caucus. And there are over 60 of them that have signed. And we've offered them something, and we are going to give it to them. And each one of them will have a responsibility in the next house. I can assure you that there will not be surprises on that floor on the 11th.
Well, probably because he said that you have reached a compromise with the opposition. But politics is a serious and dirty business. You would agree. You're going to have to sign up to compromises with the opposition to get your back. How would you be sure whatever decision you make would be in the best interest of your party and most importantly the people that give you these jobs?
You know, in 2015, there was a bit of complacency because the APC caucus thought that we have the number, they have the number, and that's it, they're going to win the election. And the PDP was busy shopping for numbers in the APC. But in 2019, we are even more aggressive shopping for PDP members than the entry they've made into the APC caucus. They will need to get about 88 votes, 88 members to be able to win that election. And for we will need to protect about 40, just about 42 to win the election. So if you have a deep knowledge of the parliament, that is why when I hear people talk about Bago, Olatuboso, whosoever you have and the rest, and that faction of the PDP that are working with them, I get very surprised, and all the time I meet them, I ask them, how do you want to do this? It's not rocket science. Look at the numbers state by state. So we are in a very comfortable position. We don't have any worry. We are comfortable with the numbers that we have in the PDP. We have about 60 of them, and we are even okay with it. If we have more, fine. If we don't have more, let them keep the rest. So, but again, anybody who wants to work with us, our doors are fully open.
Well, all this being said, one determinant factor, which you agree with me, which has also divided lawmakers and Nigerians, is the voting method to be adopted in the selection of leaders of the 9th Assembly. Open ballot was adopted for the 7th National Assembly leadership election in 2011. Secret ballot was also used in the 8th Assembly poll in 2015. Do you have any inkling whatsoever or any information what the voting method would be like on Tuesday?
In all the sessions that we've had, our situation room, various meetings we've had, the smallest caucus, we had the expanded caucus, the committees, the campaign council, everything. In the whole hundreds of meetings we've had in the last 3 months, there is nowhere that we've discussed voting pattern because it's the least of our concern. We care less whether it's secret ballot, open ballot, we are going to win the election by the grace of God, and we're prepared for it. Before 2011, it's always been an open ballot. And the parliament all over the world, everybody knows it's not a secret cult. One of the things Nigerians are asking for all the time is transparency in the parliament. And one of the areas where you can first demonstrate transparency is even your vote in the manner that you voted. But again, that is a conversation for another day. For now, we are not interested in that. Secret ballot, open ballot too, whichever you bring go, Femi and Wase go win.
That's quite interesting. The Director General of Femi Gbadabiamila Ahmed Wase Campaign Organization. I will quickly take a breather now, and then we'll be back and continue with you. Just stay with us on TBC
Thank
News.
you.
Now, let me quickly bring you back, Honorable Mumin Jibrin, let me quickly bring you back to your thought earlier on concerning the assessment of the National Assembly. If the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for instance, Mike Ozekome, describes the 8th Assembly as the best so far because of its ability to prove its independence from the executive, and you would agree that that was possible because of the way the leadership was established. With this plan in the pipeline, the House might be made to kowtow to the caprices of the executive. Is that correct?
Mike Ozekome is just one Nigerian. And very easily you can be able to assess the general opinion of Nigerians. Essentially, the 8th Assembly was run by a small clique of members. And I do not think if there is anything in terms of failure of the 8th Assembly should be robbed on the entire National Assembly or the House of Representatives. So when I listened to the Speaker's validatory speech, I said, well, okay, we will see the reaction of Nigerians. My only worry after reading that speech is that he did not have the decency to thank President Muhammadu Buhari, who was so gracious as a president of the country to accept a member from minority presiding over the National Assembly for a period of 1 year. Yet again, he said the 8th Assembly is the most persecuted in the history of the country. Persecuted! when you, the speaker, who ought to come from the majority, you moved to a minority party, you stayed there. There was no one day that the president attempted, one single moment that the president attempted to take you off that seat. I think a lot of credit should go to the APC government and to the president. But in terms of assessing the 8 assembly, why I say a small clique is that, of course, you can exonerate a lot of people from it and the rest. But I know that Nigerians are documenting this fact, and in the nearest future, you will be able to see this. But let me quickly also say,
quickly do that.
If you look at the pattern of the Femi's contest, and of course was a contest, first they went through certain issues before they came down to this issue of going to court, because they know Femi is going to win. First, they talk about godfatherism. When you talk to somebody, they will say Tinubu, Tinubu, Tinubu. And when we punctured with the fact that everybody has a godfather, and we said even though Ghana, when he won his election, the first person he visited is his godfather, who I don't want to mention his name, a former governor of Bauchi State, who wasn't even a member of the APC. And we all do have mentors and godfathers.
So what you're
why
saying,
are people not now saying?
What you're saying?
Just a moment.
Okay.
Why are people not crediting Tinubu with investing in getting Femi, baking Femi to get to a point where he is suitable enough to become a speaker? So they should allow the old man to rest. If you want to disrespect the party or disrespect the president, come out to do it boldly, but don't rub it on Tinubu. Secondly, they talk about equity. And we said there's equity in the National Assembly, because all the zones, there are 6 positions in the House, 6 positions in the Senate. And this 6 position will go to the 6 zones in both houses. Then they talked about Muslim tickets.
Right.
And we reminded them that even in the 7th Assembly, you had a situation where the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, and of course the Senate leader were all Christians. And we live in peace. It has never been an issue.
So what you're
then
saying...
They talk about equity. The last one, sorry. They talk about equity in the North Central. And we said, no, the North Central has not been shortchanged in the National Assembly, because between 2002 and 2007, they have the Deputy Senate President. And between 2007 and 2015, for a period of 12 years, without interruption, they had the Senate President. So there is all these things are just series of propaganda here and there.
So what you're now saying is that there won't be any matter of rubber stamping. That is the word that the people are actually using. That with the arrangement, that then the House of Representatives or the National Assembly as a whole, because we're also having the APC ensuring that they put their own people, their own person right there as the president of the Senate of the Senate. So are you saying that there won't be the issue of rubber stamping? Whatever the executive wants, they just accent to it.
Look at the quality of Femi, and look at the quality of Wasi, and look at the quality of Ahmed Lawan. Do they look like people that will be a rubber stamp? And what the president is saying all the time is not that you will not disagree. You will not that constructively you will not discuss and say you've done this wrong. It is not that if your ministers commit an offense or err, the National Assembly will not call them, and it is not that if something is wrong, the National Assembly will not institute investigation. It is when you personalize these issues and you use the institution of the National Assembly to fight a personal battle. These are all the issues where we are saying that it's a bit of a disagreement, and you will stop seeing such things. So there is no one individual that has ever controlled the National Assembly, and it will actually never happen.
Well, in all of these games, going to forth and back and all of these things. But what is that word or that confidence you want to instill in your supporters, those who are supporting this ambition, to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila? What would you like to say? Can you come again?
What is that giving me confidence?
Yeah, what exactly are you going to tell your supporters, those who are supporting this bid of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila's speakership?
Interestingly, you don't even have to tell them, because he is practically perhaps the most outstanding lawmaker in the House in the last 17 years, and most of them have followed him, some of them even while they were in university, and rest all the way to Canada, because it's been 17 years. So, the experience we've had, everywhere we go, Before I stand up as a director general to talk about Femi, they will say, no, we don't need introduction. We know everything about him. We know everything about him. They know he's sound. They know he's a team player. They know he's honest. They know he's respectful. They know he's the encyclopedia of the House of Representatives.
Okay, in a nutshell, you are beating your chest that come on Tuesday, 11th of June, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila will emerge the speaker, right?
I'm not beating my chest. In fact, I'm trying to even pull out my chest.
All right,
he's going to win. It is his time. It's his time. He's going to win. He's going to win by the grace of God.
All right, the Director General of Femi Gbajabiamila and Ahmed Wase Campaign Organization. We have to end it here. Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin, thank you so much for coming on Standpoint. All right, and that's our offering on today's edition of Standpoint. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch a repeat of this edition tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Enjoy your weekend.